into that, I got a couple uh, headlines that I want to get to you. The Eagles have hired a new wide receivers coach, a gentleman from the college ranks. His name is Gunter Brewer of the University of North Carolina. And it's also earlier today it was reported the Eagles were talking a restructure with Vinnie Curry's contract. Now I see that they are reportedly will be releasing him, and by releasing him, they will save up to approximately $9 million on the salary cap. They also have one thinkable or one maybe, if you will, respectable offer in a trade for Nick Foles. And I also saw that J.J. Redick has put out there that he wants his Sixers tenure to be long term. Now, moving into the NFL Combine, which was over the weekend, I think it wrapped up yesterday. And a lot of good stuff comes out of the Combine, as you know. A lot of coaches are there, a lot of great players are in this draft. Like I mentioned in my morning updates, Saquon Barkley impressed at the Combine. The top offensive lineman impressed at the Combine. But the story, the actual story of the NFL Combine, if you did not know, is of Shaq Griffin, the linebacker from UFC, University of Central Florida, who has one hand. And he posted the best linebacker time in the Combine. I think he posted like a 4.3, 4.35 or 4.38, something like that. But nonetheless, he had the best time out of all the linebackers in the NFL Combine. But what makes his story so special is the fact that he has one hand and he is very, very highly ranked among the linebackers within the Combine. And he perceived through this and made himself available to the draft. He got himself invited to the NFL Combine. So it shows how much persistence and perseverance he had in wanting to do this. So kudos and shout outs to you, Shaq Griffin, for being where you want to be, giving yourself the opportunity to be where you are, and not letting your handicap you, if you will, for lack of a better word. So shout outs to him for that. And you know, it's always a great story when you have a young man or a gentleman like that who can, again, persevere and push his way through with a deficiency, if you will, and still be ranked among the top at his position, be invited to the Combine, and be looked upon as a great football player, and should be a great draft pick for whoever picks him in the NFL draft. Now, the Eagles, on the other hand, I'm sure, are looking to upgrade place some things on their roster, which a lot of people may say that they don't really need to upgrade a lot. But in essence, they do. There are positions that need to be shored up for the long haul, like they shored up positions for the long haul in this go round. And as I say that, it's been approximately 1 month today since the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Now, I know a lot of people didn't want to hear that, but the city is still riding high. And again, 1 month ago, 1 month to the day, the Eagles won Super Bowl 52, defeating Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. So, like I said, it's been a month. But the Eagles need, I think personally, they need to re-sign or keep Nick Foles, because that way, if Carson is not ready to start the season, you have a quarterback who you can trust, who knows the team, knows the offense, knows the guys that he's around, and you can continue what you've already started. I also think that they need to shore up the linebacker position. With Jordan Hicks being hurt, so his timetable is unknown right now. Nigel Bradham is getting older, so you're going to need a replacement for him. Now, the positions where I think that the Eagles are pretty solid or pretty okay They may even also need some help along their offensive line, okay, with Jason Peters' injury. But like I was saying, one of the positions or some of the positions that I think that they're okay are the defensive back, the cornerbacks, and the safeties. I think they have enough young talent on the roster right now that can carry them through for a couple years. The offensive line, again, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go back to the offensive line. I will in a minute, but let's talk positions I think are good. The wide receiver positions are pretty solid. If they can re-sign LeGarrette Blount, their running back core is pretty solid. You know, if you can re-sign and hold on to Nick Foles whenever Carson Wentz is ready to come back, you have legit quarterbacks now. So you have to, the defensive line is the defensive line. We know what that is. I think that offensive line needs to be shored up one more time. They were arguably the best, most athletic offensive line in football for the past season. But you got a major injury to Jason Peters, which I think is like his second major injury within the last 2 or 3 years. And you've got some guys that have come in and played, like Vitae. He's come in and played very well with under the tutelage of the coaching staff and Jason Peters. You also have Jason Kelce, who you will need to replace eventually. Right now, I think Jason Kelce is pretty much a god in this city. And that goes back to the way he plays on the field, and ultimately what topped that off, and I think what gave him that title, is his speech at the Eagles championship celebratory parade. He pretty much cemented himself as an icon in this city for years to come, for a long time, if you will. And one of the things that I'm sure the Eagles will do is they will cover all of their bases, like they will dot all their I's and cross all of their T's. But I don't think that they will make a trade unless it's a deal that they absolutely cannot refuse. So a lot of folks are saying, yeah, possibly trade Nick Foles. Just pump your brakes on that, because it might not happen. Like I said, they've only gotten one, what you could say is a respectable offer for Nick Foles at the moment. So it looks like he'll probably be here for next year. And I think that he would want to be here because the learning curve and excuse me, the things of that nature, he would fit right in. You know, even if he had to start the beginning of the season, there wouldn't be much loss with that. And then in the event that something happens, you can plug him in, and again, not much would be lost. So with that being said, I'm going to take another break. When I come back, I'm going to talk this NCAA scandal, and there's a couple things that I want to get to. There has been talk about possibly paying players, which I think they should be paid, and I will get into that when we come back. I have an article about the NCAA's president who has some issues about paying players, and I also want to touch on some of the things that Chris Webber and Isaiah Thomas mentioned about this scandal and about what's going on with the NCAA men's basketball circuit. Stay tuned, folks. You're listening to Sports Rap, Heat 100 Radio. It's your boy D. I'll see you on the other side in the field.